Are you thinking about becoming an inspector, maybe making a career change? Well, my name's Ben, and I've been a building slash plumbing inspector for almost 10 years. And so I thought I'd do a quick video on just kind of the pros and cons of being a building inspector. And so I'm not talking about a home inspector. I'm not talking about somebody who would show up at your house if you're buying it and look over your home before you purchase it. I'm talking about a building inspector, a plumbing inspector, electrical, mechanical. And there's all kinds of inspectors out there. People who would show up when you buy a permit, to do an addition on your house, finish your basement, build a shop, those types of things, right? Could be plumbing, could be electrical, mechanical, fire inspectors, all types of different inspectors out there. But if you're thinking about getting into that field, maybe making a career change, or you've been in the trades for a while and you're like, maybe I should look into becoming an inspector. It's a great career. It's a great job. I don't have very many complaints about it. But I thought it would be important to run through kind of the pros and cons on it. So start off with the cons, and then we'll get to the good stuff. As far as being a building inspector, there's a few cons, mostly pros, but the cons would probably be obviously riding around in your car all day, right? When I was out, I was a superintendent for a home builder. You're out, you're moving around, and as far as just your body is concerned, kind of working all those muscles, but you spend a lot of time in your car as a building inspector. You are out, you're walking, right? You're going to job sites in and out, but you are still spending a lot of time in your car. So that's maybe one of the check marks on the con side that you could throw in there. The other thing is just government, right? Government is pro and con because you just deal with government bureaucracy, right? And you have to deal with all that. But all jobs have those issues. So there is that government side of things that maybe that might turn some people off. And then obviously you have to deal with all kinds of different personalities. So when you're out there, you're going to whoever buys a permit and calls for an inspection, you got to go there and look at it. And so you could be dealing with homeowners, contractors. Somebody could be having a good day or a bad day, or you've got to tell them they've got to fix something, and they don't necessarily like it. So that can be difficult sometimes. I would tell you most of the time, at least if you enter into the position as somebody who is customer service based and you want to help people, then usually those types of things come few and far between. But they are there. And then I would say probably the worst part of the job for me anyways is issuing stop work orders. And that's just people who are doing work without a permit. And so I get called and I have to go out there and say, hey, you're supposed to get a permit for this. And by the way, there's some fees involved and you need to stop working and you need to get your permits. And then usually in those situations, you got to go out there and do the inspections after they get the permits, and they're not as happy with you, and maybe they've got corrections and stuff. So in a nutshell, that would probably be the basics as far as kind of the cons to being an inspector, maybe just health-wise with sitting in your car and, dealing with different people and stop works, and then just kind of all the government stuff, right? And, but throw all that aside, it's like I can deal with all that. There's some really cool pros to being a building inspector, or like I said, even a specialty type inspector. Flip government back in there and you get, great benefits. You get the vacations, you get work hours. Not everywhere is going to have this, but I work what they call a 980 schedule. So I get every other Monday off. It works out great. I get an extra day to do all those chores around the house or help out with family or do whatever things I have to do. That extra day is awesome. Then obviously the pensions and the great benefits, all that stuff is, that government provides is great for you and great for your family. The most important part of the whole job though for me is freedom. I just have a personality where I, give me the keys and let me run type person, right? So, we take off our messages in the morning, we get our list of inspections that we got to do, go get it done. right? And so that fits me very well, is to just have that freedom. I have somebody looking over my shoulder. I know what I need to do. I've been trained. I have my certifications. Just go get it done and go help people, right? Help them get through their project. So freedom is a big one for me. So along with, having freedom is also the ability to have set hours. When you work, we get our set inspections. When we're done, right? So there's the need for overtime and having mixed hours and people calling you at all hours. It's just not really there, right? You do your inspections for that day. You get off at whatever time you get off, and you get to go home. So you get to spend that time with your family, kind of away from the work world, and be present and be a part of family. Or on top of that, be able to actually schedule whatever extracurricular activities you have and know that you're not going to get called in, right? The other beauty of it on top of that is usually your work doesn't carry over. You take a couple weeks off work, you come back, somebody's done those inspections. They've had to get done. People have called for those inspections. They're not going to tell a contractor like, hey, Ben's off for 2 weeks, so we're not going to come look at your framing, because they got to keep their project moving. So somebody will fill in for you. So it's awesome to come back and not have stacks of paper on your desk or stacks of messages or inspections to catch up on. They've been done for you. I don't know how many jobs are out there that are like that. My wife is in marketing, and if she takes a week off, well, then usually she comes back to like 200 emails or something she's got to go through. I may have a little bit here and there, a few questions to answer on specific projects, but it's nothing like your typical job where, you kind of get kicked in the butt if you take a week off of work. It's great in that freedom realm of things, which is what I really, really enjoy. So the other big thing, and probably the last thing that at least I appreciate, and that I kind of visually saw when I was out as a superintendent building houses, is I don't have to wear tool bags. I get to be out on site. I love construction. I've been in it my whole life. I love being out in the weather. I love whether or not it's raining, snowing, hot. I just like being outside. I like being with contractors who are out there to get something done and to see something physical that's built and something that they're proud of. And as an inspector, you get to kind of be a part of that. Well, whether good or bad, you're involved in it, and you're there to help keep the project moving and make sure that it's done in a safe manner. And so all that kind of stuff pulled together really does make the position beneficial and exciting, especially for me. I don't know for you out there if maybe your personality doesn't jive with all that stuff, but if it does, it is a great career to get into. You do not have to have all kinds of accolades. You don't have to be in the trades for 40 years to get involved in it. I think I have spent a lot of time in construction, but I think 32 when I jumped into it. So it's not times are changing. It's not just for, the older person that's been in the trades for 40 years and then they become an inspector. It is getting younger. And so if you're out there, you're thinking about it, don't be shy. And by all means, hit me up with questions if you've got questions out there. If you are an inspector and you're watching this and you've got other stuff to throw on in the comments for everybody else, by all means, throw them in there. And, for sure hit the subscribe button. I'm going to be posting a few more videos here just about being an inspector, as well as just building code tips. So if you're new to it and you're curious about maybe some of the stuff that we get called or things we look at, I've got all kinds of videos out there. And you can also check out buildingcodetips.com. I've got guides as far as like plumbing and building guides, stuff built mostly for the homeowner, some more on the residential side of building code. But if you're thinking about getting in the career, maybe that's some stuff you want to take a peek at and maybe help kind of kickstart the brain and maybe to help you decide if it's something you want to get into.